have all felt the specific hollow ache of the morning after. It isn't a hangover from alcohol. It is a hangover from exposure. You sat at a table. The conversation flowed. The atmosphere felt safe, perhaps too safe. And in that warmth, you unlocked the gates. You spoke of your resentments. You detailed your financial anxieties. You laid out the blueprint of your next great ambition. You handed over the keys to your history. At the moment, it felt like connection. It felt like unburdening. But in the cold light of the following day, you feel lighter, yes, but also thinner, weaker. You realize that you have given pieces of yourself away that you can never get back. You have invited the world into the engine room of your life, and now you are no longer the sole captain of the ship. We live in an age of radical transparency. We are told that to share is to heal, that vulnerability is the ultimate currency of friendship. We are taught that if we do not broadcast our inner lives, we are repressed, cold, or inauthentic. But the ancient Stoics and the masters of human psychology understood a darker truth. Silence is not just an absence of noise. It is a container for power. When you pour water from a pitcher into the sand, the water is gone. It nourishes the ground for a moment, and then it vanishes. When you keep the water in the vessel, it retains its potential. This is not a guide on how to be secretive. It is a guide on how to be sovereign. The Greeks had a word, autarkeia. It is often translated as self-sufficiency, but that is too dry a definition. It means self-rule. It means the ability of the mind to be satisfied with its own validation without needing to export its internal state to an audience to make it real. Seneca warned us about the restlessness of the soul that drives us to chatter. We talk because we cannot bear the weight of our own thoughts. We reveal our secrets not to build intimacy, but to seek permission. Am I okay? Is this normal? Do you approve of my suffering? When you ask these questions, even implicitly, you hand the gavel to the jury. You turn your friend into your judge. But here is the paradox. True intimacy requires boundaries. If you have no walls, you have no gate. And if you have no gate, you cannot invite anyone in. They just wander through. To cultivate a Stoic mind, we must learn to distinguish between the public commons and the inner citadel. There are 6 specific areas of your life that belong in the citadel. These are the pillars of your identity. To reveal them is to destabilize the foundation of your own character. The first thing to guard is your intent. We have all done it. We have a sudden burst of inspiration, a business idea, a fitness goal, a creative project. The excitement is unbearable. So we rush to a friend and say, "I'm going to do this." They smile. They say, "That's amazing." You feel a rush of dopamine. You feel the warm glow of accomplishment. But you haven't accomplished anything. Psychologically, this is known as social reality. When you announce a goal, your brain registers the social acknowledgement as a premature victory. The tension required to actually do the work is released. You have eaten the dessert before you have hunted the meal. Stoicism demands action, not announcements. When you keep your ambition silent, the energy has nowhere to go but into the work. It builds pressure. It becomes a driving force. Furthermore, by revealing your plan, you invite the evil eye, not in a mystical sense, but in a psychological one. Even a well-meaning friend will subconsciously filter your ambition through their own fears. Their subtle doubts, their realistic questions act as friction. Build in the dark. Let the results be the only announcement you ever make. The second pillar of silence is your history of resentment. There is a seduction in complaining about those who have wronged us. If you tell a friend how your partner, your boss, or your parent mistreated you, you are recruiting an ally. You are building a coalition. But consider what this actually does. You are keeping the trauma alive. You are performing a resurrection of pain. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that the present moment is all we have. To drag the corpse of a past insult into the present is to pollute the now. When you recount your grievances, you identify yourself as a victim. You tell the world, "This is what happened to me," rather than, "This is who I am." Moreover, the friend listening to you now knows exactly how to hurt you. They know where your buttons are. They know what gets under your skin. Even if you trust them now, relationships change. A dynamic shift, a drift apart, and suddenly your vulnerabilities are public domain. The Stoic does not repress the emotion, but they process it internally. They dissolve the injury by refusing to accept the offense, not by broadcasting it. Money. It is the great distorter of human perception. Whether you are struggling or thriving, the specific details of your finances create a lens through which others view you. If you reveal you are wealthy, the dynamic shifts. A subtle expectation of generosity creeps in. You become a resource, not a companion. Envy, a biologically primal emotion, is triggered even in those who love us. If you reveal you are struggling, you invite pity, and pity is the cousin of contempt. You may receive help, but you lose dignity. You lose the standing of an equal. The Stoic concept of indifference teaches that wealth is a preferred indifferent, useful but not essential to the character. By keeping your financial reality ambiguous, you force people to interact with you, not your net worth. You remove the price tag from your forehead. The fourth thing to conceal is your own goodness. If you fast, if you donate to charity, if you help a stranger, and then you tell a friend about it, you have converted a moral act into a transaction. You have traded virtue for validation. The Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you have done a good act and another has received it, why do you look for a third thing besides these like the fools do, to be reputed for having done this? When you seek credit for kindness, you are not being kind. You are being political. You are campaigning for the office of good person. There is a quiet, terrifying strength in doing the right thing when no one is watching. It builds a callus on the soul. It proves to you and only you that your principles are real. If you must tell someone about your good deeds to feel the value of them, they were never valuable to begin with. This is the most common violation, the venting about one's partner or family to a third party. This is a betrayal of the sacred circle. When you enter into a bond with a partner or a family unit, there is an implicit agreement of privacy. To take the friction of that bond and export it to a friend is a form of triangulation. You are bringing an audience into your bedroom. When you resolve the fight with your partner, you forgive them. But your friend, they remember. They hold the grudge you let go of. You have tainted their perception of your loved one permanently. A Stoic understands that conflict is inevitable, but it must be contained. To scatter the debris of your home life onto the street is to live in a house with glass walls. You gain a moment of sympathy at the cost of the structural integrity of your home. Finally, and most controversially, do not reveal the full extent of your fears to everyone who calls themselves a friend. We are told that it's okay not to be okay. And this is true. We should not lie and pretend to be perfect. But there is a difference between admitting a struggle and handing over your throat. If you constantly verbalize your deepest insecurities, I feel like a fraud. I'm terrified I'm not smart enough. You're training others on how to view you. You're giving them the script of your incompetence. Humans are hierarchical creatures. We instinctively assess the strength of those around us. If you present yourself as riddled with holes, people will instinctively step back. Or worse, they will step on you. This is not about faking confidence. It is about processing fear in the appropriate forum. Bring your fears to a journal. Bring them to a therapist. Bring them to the gods if you believe in them. But do not bring them to the marketplace. A Stoic leads with their reason, not their panic. You can say, I am facing a challenge, without saying, I am drowning. If you follow this path, if you choose to seal these 6 doors, a strange thing will happen. You will feel a disconnect. You will sit at dinner parties, and while others are frantically trading secrets to buy connection, you will remain silent. You will listen. You will observe. Some people will find you distant. They may call you hard to read. They may even stop inviting you to the spaces where gossip is the main course. This is the cost. Stoicism does not promise you popularity. It does not promise you the warm, fuzzy comfort of the herd. It promises you autarkeia. When you stop leaking your energy, your history, and your leverage to the outside world, you begin to accumulate a reservoir of power. You become a person of weight in a world of drifting leaves. You become the keeper of your own keys. So the next time you feel the urge to confess, the urge to explain, the urge to be understood, pause. Let the silence sit in your throat. Taste it. It is bitter, yes, but it is the taste of freedom.